Hello guys, what is up? It is your boy Prince of Otis back here with the third part of What If Asta Aokiji's powers named Unique Being. Sorry for taking so long. I actually had a bit of trouble finishing this part. I don't know why. It's actually pretty simple. But I am here and I am back. I'll be posting the Katakuri What If on the second channel soon. I'm almost finished with that. I have a lot of things that are changing. People have devil fruits now, so it's not always going to be chakra versus chakra, or devil fruit versus chakra. So I'm trying to figure stuff out. I'll get to it, and tell me down below what you think of this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all of my future videos. And yeah, let's begin with the recap. We picked up with the Golden Dawn and the Black Bulls splitting up as Asta and Noel go help Luck and make him calm down before going to the treasure room together. Upon arriving there, first however, Asta freezes Lajos and Mars, who had put his little brother near death. He freezes everything as Luck and Noel arrive to see Asta forcing Mars to heal Yuno and everyone else, but this rage overflows as he ends up in his mind where he relives a memory he's been suppressing for a long time. This will lead to Asta not only getting a spirit, but a second grimoire, as well as his big brother back. He remembers what happened to his entire family. He now had hockey magic and the Conqueror spirit, which was Libe, and he also had ice magic with that. And while Yuno gained the spirit as well later, soon the whole kingdom began to hear of this as Asta shows Libe to a squad and later nobles, and Julius would see him at the banquet. There is a lot that happens that draws attention to Asta until an attack would hit the kingdom. Asta would use his ice magic and hockey to magically freeze everything in the entire kingdom, but only their enemies, and spare the citizens perfectly. However, Forgolan would still get captured, hurt, and robbed of his precious necklace. This is also when Asta starts to train seriously and starts to swing his heavy demon slayer until night fell, and Libe then told him that something weird was going on down below at the capital. This leaves him to go and see some kids. Well, he brought along Teresa and Ghosh. As they arrived, they saved the kids. Asta would interrogate Neige and Baro, right as Licht and Sally would then appear with Valtos using his portal. Asta fights Licht and wins as the third eye would appear, and he beats them all alone regardless, well, with a little help from Libe, but it is just his magic in the end. And the captains then appear as he falls asleep. Inferno will then grab and take him home, while the captains plan to lock up the people of the organization. We will now go to the very next day as Asta would be snoring in his room with his blindfold over his face when he begins to be shaken. Just a few more minutes. However, a knock is then hit on his head when Yami then tells him to wake up, and Asta would sit up asking what's wrong. You're so rough for no reason. He lost those bastards. Wait, what, those guys? Then why are you punching me? I felt like it. Asta with an almost teary eye would then say that's just plain mean as he complains, but he notices Yami is clearly annoyed as when he takes a puff from his cigarette he says, "Sorry kid, all that hard work for nothing." From beside him, Lick would then click his tongue saying, "How dare you make my little bro feel bad? As a matter of fact, let's throw down right now." "Feel free, I ain't afraid to fight a spirit," Yami said. The animosity between them would then grow as Asta tried to calm them down while he thought, how the hell did they escape? We will now go to the Gravito Belt where the four comrades lay on beds with their bodies slowly being healed by containers and some sort of solution made by Sally. She would be present with Valtos and was crying and being mad at Asta for hurting their masters. That guy was way too dangerous of a variable, final thought. We need to keep him out of the action somehow, or get rid of him, they all thought. We will now go to the Clover Kingdom with Yami and Asta being led to the interrogation room by Marks, who says, "I must apologize again for what happened." Nah, it's all good. Why are we here again? It's hard to believe he fought those monstrous people, but his mana, it stopped leaking, Marks thought. He would then explain for the third time, because Asta kept asking this, why they were here until they reached the underground and find the captains present before three prisoners strapped up, including Rades. The captains, however, of course, were arguing as always, but Julius meanwhile runs to Asta as he pulls him over to the prisoners. "It's the same spell, can you use your hockey on it this time?" "I mean, sure, but you're way too excited about this." Taking a stance, Asta would then squeeze out just a bit of his Conqueror spirit, causing a shockwave of lightning, which would then show the spell before shattering it, while everyone felt a shiver run down their spine. "I'd rather just fight the brat instead at this point," said Jack. "Calm yourself down, commoner," Nozal said. "That was cool and scary," Rill said. With the new spell now broken, Julius would then approach the prisoners as Marks used his magic on them, and Julius would then say, "The way our barrier was infiltrated was way too clean. It was almost as if someone on the inside was conspiring against us." As this dawns to the captains, they realize that one of them might be a traitor, and that's when, they realize why they were truly here for real. And the next thing Julius asks is what would it end the suspicions. "Who helped you, and is he or she in this room?" As they stare blankly, the prisoners would then say, "The captain of the Purple Orchis, Geldor." Instantly, everyone looks to the captain, who would be flustered. "Oh, please, this isn't true. You really believe them?" Asta, make him speak, Yami said. With a stare, Asta would then say with pleasure as he releases his conqueror spirit, and the captain is left dazed as Asta would then ask if he betrayed the kingdom, and he says yes. The disappointment from the captains is massive, and with this ice magic, Asta would freeze the man, leaving him knocked out, and Julius would then thank Asta for moving so fast. After this, Mars would then use his magic to cave into the mind of Geldor and would show everyone his crimes and dealings with dangerous organizations. And after finding this out, Julius made everyone check on their people and people associated with them in any way, just in case. And then they split up as Asta and Yami were then told about their next mission. Spring onto the beach of Rockaway, a town in the Noble Realm, the Black Bulls make quite the impression and entrance as they'll be filled with energy to have fun. However, as he's being dragged by Magna, Asta would say, "Guys, aren't we supposed to be working? Oh, come on, live a little." Fine. Mana would then let him go to, let him pick himself up and join them, but he would then turn back to see Asta walk away as he then turns and falls while creating an ice chair and umbrella. Ah, that feels nice. How the hell is that living a little? Magna yells. Asta, however, just relaxes on his beach chair, saying this is how he lives. And Magna, before he can say anything, has his butt lit on fire by Luck, and using his lightning magic, on his swimwear, he did that. He just starts to chase Luck around while Noah approaches Asta in a nervous manner. I bet you've never seen a swimsuit as beautiful as this, huh? She of course wants some praise, but as he looks at Noelle, Asta simply puts a thumbs up saying that she looks nice. Well, she wasn't expecting that. She doesn't mind it either, but she's tsundere, so she runs out telling him to shut up. Libby will then form sitting on Asta's head. What a weird little human. You're a weird spirit, said Asta. What the huff? Libby will then ask why they're even here. I was gonna take you to see Mom today. Yeah, well, I just want a little bit of time, Libby can tell Asta is still getting used to what he has and what he's been told, and he's not in a scared state, but it's understandable how he's feeling right now. And Libby then tell him that, it was okay, just take your time. So he leaves it alone and stays with them, and the wolves enjoy themselves. Vanessa takes a seat on the beach chair under Asta's umbrella, and he gives her some ice for her drink. But then Yami shows up, and they find themselves jammed into the ground, as Libby would then be laughing at them. Shut the hell up, you shrimp, Magna would yell. Hey, I'm not stuck underground, okay? Alright, shut up, all of you. I got the info we needed. The temple's at the bottom of the sea, meaning you gotta get us there, Noelle. Huh? Me? Yep. You got 1 week, so get to work. That's so unreasonable, she thought. However, turning to see her, everyone would then say that she will, of course, do well, and they will help her, and she would feel a bit more at ease. If you lost control, Asta would stop you anyway, so don't be afraid, Grace said, as she took the form of Noelle's form, yeah. Then Noelle would say thanks, but that's still weird. But regardless, they do get to work. As night and day come to pass, Noelle would get help by everyone, as she and Asta would also be met by a mysterious girl, but we'll meet her again soon. Not that they know that, though. Now, as the week passes and night falls again, everyone gathers around Noelle at the shore as she closes her eyes and begins to gather mana. She then opens her eyes, and everyone is enveloped by a sphere of revolving water that locks them in tight. You did it, Fenrir said, as he ruffled her hair. Yami would then say, good. Now, keep it going, alright? He complimented me? Yeah, let's go. So they plunge into the sea and are mesmerized by the view, but what is ahead will be a dangerous area of water typhoons in their way. However, pushing past it, Noelle would then enter past them and just into a completely new area, and it felt like a different world. Ah, look at the little fishies, Charmy said, as this is when she starts to drool, but Asta would shout, Charmy-senpai, stop drooling, you're not catching anything. He would grab her and pull her back as she is caught in a trance, and everyone else is just enjoying the view. Maybe I should get one of these seashells from Maria Gore said. With his nose already bleeding, he was trying to act weird. What am I doing? He was starting to act weird when they then felt a huge rise in mana, and forward there would be a barrier of water revolving violently. I guess you're up, Asta, Luck said. Holding his hand out, Asta would then summon his Ice Grimoire as his hand freezes over as he says, Ice Age. He blows into the palm of his hand and blows a little frost wave through the barrier without harming it at all. Whoa, how are you doing that? Luck said. I'm covered in hockey, so there's no interference. The group is amazed by how far its control has come of these two different types of magic, and as the wave would just, pass through the water unrestrained, it feels even more unbelievable. But then when it touches the barrier, it freezes it all in an instant before it then shatters. The sudden rupture pulls them in as Noelle has to hang on and control herself until they are yeeted out the other side. This other side has no water, and Noelle will then release her magic, and they all land in a sort of reef, but it's just no water. And as they look forward, there will be the water temple, and they walk forward, and slowly more citizens come and ask them if they're magic knights, and why they're here, and etc. Shut up, where the hell's your boss, Yami would ask. Who the hell do you think you're talking to? One of the inhabitants would say. Oh, stop it, he's up those stairs, one of them would say. And Magna would then defuse the situation, so they can start heading up the stairs. What do you always resort to? Before he can even finish his words, Asta would then fall asleep until he wakes up on his own. What was I saying? You were saying how amazing I was, Noelle said. That doesn't sound like me. The two of them began to argue with the Black Bulls having gotten used to Asta acting like that and Noelle acting like that, so just carry on until they reach the top. There they see a gate which opens up on its own, so they just head in, and Asta would say, guys, someone's activating magic. Hearing this, everyone moves with caution when they just start to see a silhouette ahead, and a sound is then heard from behind. They turn to see a giant sea creature, but with a swing, Asta fills it with 5 spears, and it is then shattered to pieces as it is frozen. So, this guy wants to throw down, huh? Magna said. That very same silhouette that they saw ahead then begins to laugh and walk forward as they look forward to see an old man make himself known. Looks like we got some interesting guests. One with 2 4-leaf grimoires, no less. The Bibles get suspicious as Asta would ask how he knew that, and he says it's hard not to know. The Clover Kingdom's be getting quite powerful because of you. Oh, are you looking for a stone by any chance? He knows way too much, the Black Bulls think. Calling for a meeting with the boys, Magna, Luck, and Goshen and Asta discuss their choices, but cutting in, the priest would then ask that they play a game to get the stone. That sounds boring. Bring back the fish, Charmy said. Well, would you do it for some free food and booze? Bring it all on, man, Yami would say. And they say, yeah, they all agree to this cost, and it sounds more fun at least. And hearing this, the priest then uses grimoire to summon his priests, who leave from holes in the cave, the walls of the cave, and they land beside the priest, as the hammerhead priest would then say, you called? Yes, your opponents are here. All their eyes would then quickly shift to Asta, who upon noticing their stares would then cover himself, saying, perverts. What? No, we just find your magic very powerful. Yeah, what a weird thing to say. Kaono would then be left chuckling a bit inside to see Asta acting the same no matter the situation, but the priests aren't that impressed by the others, and this angers the bulls, who now really want some payback. The priests would then allow their wishes, to fight, and they are dropped through the floors, and they scream in surprise, but Asta and Yami are transported to a different area. Oi, why the hell are we here, Yami would ask. Maybe he's trying to separate us. Oh, really, said Yami. Hey, don't just make your own assumptions, alright? You guys are just too strong. The game wouldn't be fun that way, would it? Well, I can't really argue with that. Alright, okay, let's take a seat, Yami would say. Asta would then say sure, and they do so as the monitors are switched on, allowing them to see their squad fight. And this is when Asta would say, oh, there's Kahano. Yes, she went to the surface. She's my granddaughter. That's her brother over there, the Grand Priest would say. Asta is quite surprised, but he has been sensing Kahano the moment he arrived, but already the Black Bulls meet their first enemy, and so the priest asks what the level they are. And Yami would say, I guess they're all juniors. Wait, seriously? That's so boring. A loud boom, however, then goes off as the surprise priest then turns and is shocked to see all his people who should be at intermediate level, as mages, be beat with one attack from everyone. You lost, Asta would say. Well, there's still my final priest left. I don't think it'll be easy, alright? However, Asta and Yami are really glued to the screen, not paying attention, and the old man cannot believe that these are his guests. They're so rude. And the game continues though. The Black Bulls show resolve to get stronger, so the competitiveness that has been building up since Asta started getting serious has fully erupted in this full battle. They beat all their opponents, but it was mostly harder for Magna and Luck, who went up against the Hammerhead Priest. But because majority of the fights were won anyway, the Black Bulls win and are given the stone quite fast, because the other option is that the Head Priest is forced to do so via Asta's Conqueror Spirit. Regardless, the magic's conditions, it's not gonna matter anyway, and Noel barely has enough magic to actually get them back up to the surface, so even though they didn't lose, they didn't have to recuperate, they're gonna stay an extra day. The party with the sea inhabitants be thrown, and after that, everyone will be shown to their rooms by Kahono, as instantly they all spread out like maniacs. I call that one. They're all the same, who cares? I'm hungry. You're always hungry. Asta, however, quickly finds Anybad and just lays down as he puts his blindfold over, and he breathes a sigh of relief. Sweet sleep. He covers his bed with an ice dome with multiple layers to keep out as much noise as possible, and Kahono then laughs at this, saying that he really just loves sleeping. It's like his favorite activity. Yep, Noel said. But does this mean you'll never come back to the surface because you lost to us? I'll find a way, but for now, if you have free time, you want to go explore together? Noel says of course, and they run off while Gray, who had lost a lot of magic, reverted to her original form. She's kind of hiding a little bit, and Inferno tries to hit on her now that he knows that she's truly a she. The next day, they returned back to the surface and got back to the comforts of their base. And the day after that, Asta and Charmy, along with Yami, head to the capital and enter Julius's office before then giving up the stone. As Libe sits atop Asta's head, he would then keep staring at Nera, who sits with him, and he says, "Why are you hanging around my brother? I don't feel any malice from you, but..." The bird, however, just stays silent though, and it averts its gaze, and Libe would then say whatever. And whatever she is planning, she better not hurt him, right as Asta then asks if they're arguing up there, and Libe would then say that they're fine. Good work, said Julius. It's kind of more bizarre that this organization didn't just attack you, but it figures after the whooping you gave them. It was nothing. We're under attack, Asta would say. Huh? Everyone said, right as Marston uses his magic to show himself by a hologram, and he says, we're under attack. A Diamond Kingdom unit is nearing our borders. He would then show the image of them encroaching and nearing them as the Diamond Kingdom's three Shining Generals would be present, but then on the screen also shows the Golden Dawn, and they make their entrance, and with smiling Yuno enveloping himself with Bell's power, she would then enter his body. A barrage of attacks from the General Rakos is then released as lightning arrows that pierce the Clover barrier, but as it's about to hit the mages at every edge of the barrier, in the blink of an eye, Yuno travels across the border, just blowing it all away. Every single attack is then just completely blown away by a Spirit Storm that is then forced to, onto Brachus, who has to counter with his own blast. The ensuing shockwave disrupts the attackers' formation as they be realizing that this kid's using spirit magic. Is that the one with the 2 grimoires or no? In that instance, Brachus is then overwhelmed and completely enveloped by the spirit storm attack, which will then go on to hit others around. Yuno would then land on the border walls asking for them to bring it on, and back at the castle, an excited Asta would then run to and through a window apologizing to Julius right as he summons Libe, who would then form saying, "This might be a bit petty." He then enters Asta, who says he knows that he can't deny that, but he won't let himself be overtaken. He enters his own spirit dive with half of his body partly turning black as he gains devil-like wings of red color as well as a black and red crown. The power of Asta's magic is then felt, but the other members turn to see what's going on, and past him then flashes a streak as everyone looks forward to see Asta has made his way into the army with his Demon Slayer sword, and many mages are hit by delayed cuts and begin to fall, and this includes one of the Shining Generals, the remaining one, Ragus. Yeah, wait. I really confuse these names. I don't really care about them anyway. I'm just giving them names for context. You know I don't care. And you know what then say, "You learned that too, huh?" Yep, you don't get to pull ahead, Asta would say. As the mages are left in awe of this power, the Diamond Kingdom realizes that Asta's one with the 2 grimoires, but despite Asta and Yuno being there, they still break in by the grace of the 2 remaining generals who led the charge forward. However, the citizens have gotten a bit farther away from the action, with Asta and Yuno landing in the way of Brocus, who charges forward with the creation of his mana. This would be like a gigantic rhinoceros thing. And swinging down, Asta releases a violent crescent wave of Haki, while Yuno releases a Spirit Storm, and the attacks combine, blowing away his creation to smithereens and killing him as their attacks will reach more diamond mages that are trying to enter. While they're taking care of the other diamond mages, some of them spread after having lost their 2 generals, and now they needed to be more tactical. But Asta took his time to create a blockade by fixing the broken wall with his ice, and taking this chance, other Clover mages spread out right as Vanessa's giant tree is sprouted. It takes root not only with Vanessa's mana, but also by having its vines grab on hold of the diamond mages and sucking them dry of mana. And taken to the skies, Asta then tells Yuno that he better not fall behind, and 2 brothers are already on the move, and they will proceed to take care of all the leftover weaklings as Asta will then soon land to the ground, and he runs, making his way down a street. One from an alleyway, he's then ambushed by a mass of wind magic. However, holding his hand out, he summons his Ice Grimoire and yells Ice Age, literally freezing the wind, which should be, again, impossible in the blink of an eye, and he then appears behind the mages, who was then sliced in half by his Demon Slayer. This is one he actually hears. Can we talk? Asta would then come to a stop as he looks up to a rooftop to see Langris. If I start talking, I'll lose my mojo. Jumping down and approaching him, Langris promises that it won't take too long. I'm well aware you're a bit aloof, but why would you align yourself with losers like the Black Bulls with your power? Upon hearing this, a shift occurs in Asta, who says, "People don't like you very much, do they?" "How'd you know?" As he keeps a smile, Langris didn't ask for an answer, but someone else makes an entrance from down the street, and this would be a Shining General, and Langris thought he had beaten him, and he drags along a massive mucus using his magic, inside of which there were her citizens trapped by him. "On the honor of the Diamond Kingdom, I'm gonna take your head home," said the Shining General. "I thought I took care of you," Langris said. As he laughs, the mage would then say that they can no longer touch him because they would hurt the citizens, and the citizens were begging for help, just as Charming and Inferno would then arrive on the scene. "Well, too bad," Langris said. "There'll be sacrifices for the kingdom." As he readies to erase all of them, along with the Magic Knight, however, Asta swings and releases a wave of ice that freezes the entire, what's it called? Let's say he freezes the entire block, like the block, what I'm talking about. Before he then shatters everything, but shatters specifically only the mucus that the general was creating, but also the general, who just shatters to pieces as flesh, and everything else is fine. The citizens are safe and they fall to the ground, and running past them, Charming Inferno will then begin to help them up and put them into a portal. "Thanks," said Inferno. Now, as they enter the portal, people will be thanking Asta so much as they are in awe of his power, and Langris is impressed to see this power of Asta's ice magic. "To answer your question," Asta would say, "I just felt like it. There's nothing else to it." He then takes to the skies, leaving Langris unsatisfied, as he would then take a bit of time to talk to his brother. "Since when did the Black Bulls become a daycare center?" The hell you say? I'm fully grown, you bastard, Charming would yell. Looking at him straight in the eye, Fernand would then say that Langris is not allowed to insult his teammates. But I'm free game. I might be trash, but they're not. Fernand, Charming would exclaim. Langris would then tell him to, keep struggling, but it means nothing as he walks off, but Charming would say not to listen to him, and Fernand would then thank her, saying that he really doesn't mind. Let's just help the others. With the turn, they then run off, with the siblings, and Asta splitting ways and just destroying a lot of people. And then soon they bring her comrades to the medical ward, whether or not they were in their squad. And Owen was very busy that day. He's like the dude, the resident healer. And was present at the medical ward as Asta lands, still in his spirit form, but he exits it as he would, of course, land. And Asta would ask, "Are they okay?" They'll live, said Not that you need to step in anyway. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. They just keep giving glares back at each other, but acknowledge that they've each grown and think about how they could do better next time. Klaus would then run out of the ward at that moment and see Asta, and he asks with worry if he's hurt anywhere. You never checked up on me, said. It is my duty to keep my eye on my co-eyes, so I did. Asta is at times prone to falling asleep randomly. I've been seeing you all day. True, said. I'm fine, thanks for asking. I don't really get tired like that anymore. My two sides balance me out, but yeah, it's been fine since the day I got Libe. Klaus will then show a relieved smile, but remember something that he has to do and he's been kind of putting off, and he bows and apologizes to the two. I never got to do this formally, and I was too embarrassed to lower my head, but you two are fine knights. I'm sorry. Looking at each other, and Asta just shrug their shoulders as they put both their hands on Klaus's shoulder, and he then lifts his head as they would then be putting thumbs up with big smiles. Honestly, I forgot. Noah was much worse than you when we first met, Asta said. And I live with you. I know you changed, said. Klaus then stands straight, thanking them for taking his apology, and it felt like a great way of being taken off of himself. In the end, everything was fine, and damage to the kingdom was minimized, and things slowly got fixed as squads got back to their bases. But days later, Vanessa left out of nowhere, and so Asta, Noel, and Finral go after her, using Asta's observation to guide them. As they near the witch's force, however, a golem would then fly out before them and then begins to fire off magic bullets, but forming her sea dragon's cradle, Noel would then receive the attacks and block them, but more of them then show up and fire more bullets and more and more and more. What a warm welcome, said Fernand. Seriously, are they gonna stop? As he asks, however, witches then begin to surround them and the golems then back off, and Noel would then let down the barrier, asking if they can meet Vanessa. No, you can't meet anyone. Get out of here and take those disgusting men with you. That one looks like he's ready to attack us and mess with us. As they point to Fernand, he gets sad over being essentially called a pervert, which he kind of is, when out of nowhere, a swarm of crows then begin to surround the Black Bulls. But Asta says to let them come close. Even the witches do not move, as though they do not know why. It seems that their queen has sent her crows to pick them up. The birds get closer and closer and essentially warp the group away, while they also disappear into air, until the group will then land in the throne room. But as they look forward, they're left angered, as the queen has her foot on the head of Vanessa, who, for lack of a better word, was left battered. Imperfect, even to this day, said the queen. What are you doing? Asta would say, as he would then swing forward, and the queen is then caught off guard by a huge release of mana, but in the blink of an eye, she's then frozen to the neck, while Asta would then run over, and he holds Vanessa in his arms. You're the child, the one possessing 2 grimoires, said the queen, as she then explodes with blood and shatters the ice all around her, and gets free, with Asta jumping back, while Noah would then ask why she would hurt their friend. I am the mother of all witches. I do as I please, humans. Holding her hand out, she would then open up her grimoire and summon a blood scythe, which she then swings at Asta, who summons an ice saber and clashes with hers while throwing Vanessa to Fernand, who catches her. But the scythe is then rapidly frozen and shattered as Asta would then close in with incredible speed, but Vanessa would then yell to stop right as his cold hands near the queen's face. The queen is left breathing heavily from the constant release of Asta's conqueror spirit, but listening to Vanessa, Asta would pull back as Vanessa is let down. I need her to get stronger. At the cost of your life, yells Noel. You're still really hurt. Aren't you tired of us relying on Asta? She would say. The last time he came home from the fight, I couldn't believe he casually put his life on the line like that. I don't want to lose someone I consider family. The queen had never seen her daughter so emotional about someone, and Asta was left embarrassed, seeing that she says stuff like that way too easily. I learned it from you. Sorry I didn't tell you guys anything, Vanessa said. Their sweet moment, however, is then interrupted by Asta's shining eyes, with Libe then forming as he says that 2 armies are heading for them. The queen, upon seeing the spirit, uses her magic to look through the security golems. Meanwhile, Asta will then blast a hole through her castle, allowing them to directly see the armies approaching. Asta, Noel and Fernand yell as the queen then gives him a stink eye, and Asta will then say it's better this way anyway. If we don't stop them, then there won't be much left anyway. With this, he leaps to the sky as Libe will then start to enter his body, and he explodes with black lightning. He goes to his spirit form, and a giant fireball is then hurled at the forest, but flying forward, he cuts it apart and dissipates it as he comes to a stop before the many approaching armies, who upon seeing his two grimoires would shiver. On each side are people who have met Asta, that being Raya and Fauna, and Mars and Lajos. He was lucky to just get away despite hurting Asta's little brother, so he felt the stench of death approaching. We have strength in numbers. He can't beat all of us, the Diamond Mages and Hooded Knights would say as they charged forward while those cautious stayed back, and covering his Demon Slayer with ice, Asta would say, dual magic. He swings from one side to another as the witches and all those present watch, and the armies are just coming closer and closer, nothing is happening, and they think that he's just going to let himself die, so they prepare to attack. But then in a flash, all the people are frozen and are shattered by sparks of lightning. The entire army, well, not all of it, most of it is left destroyed to bits like flies, leaving everyone's mouth wide open. Of course, it wasn't, like I said, everyone, but those who had witnessed this began to quickly flee, giving up. But the witches then, tried to counter them, go after them, flying past Asta. They go after them. Mars and Lajos and Fauna and Raya, meanwhile, would soon to come to make eye contact. Mars, upon seeing Fauna, is left frozen as he approaches, asking where she's been, but she almost incinerates him, saying, "Don't talk to me." So, she holds her head in pain, with the soul of Fauna conflicting with her elf soul, and Raya with a kick will then send Lajos and Mars flying. We're leaving. In the blink of an eye, however, he's then beheaded, with Asta appearing in front of him, saying, "No, you're not." With the turn, he then goes to pierce Fauna when a shield of minerals will then block him, as Mars will then yell for him to spare her, like you did with my brother. Fauna at this moment will then stop screaming and look forward, being confused, but she recognizes Mars and, of course, Lajos, and she sees the bloodlusted Asta, who, however, will then put away his Demon Slayer in anger. "Get out of here," Asta would say, as he disappears, with Mars then running to and hugging Fauna, who asks what's going on. "We need to leave. That monster actually let us go, so let's not waste this," Lajos would say. Mars would then nod and they begin to, and the army has already been decimated by this point. The issue was that they would not have to explain their failure, you feel me? Quickly, however, everything of course is taken care of, and the Black Bulls just land outside of the forest when the Queen would then arrive on the scene. "We helped you. The least you can do is not help me get stronger," Vanessa said. Looking at her daughter, the Queen, however, would show disdain, as Asta would say before, anything else, before doing anything else. She actually has something that they were told by Julius to get. That earring. Give it. I'm not asking. Grabbing the earring, the Queen will then take the stone out of it, and her mind begins to imagine how a fight between her and this child would go. But her subconscious instantly imagines her freezing over in an instant before she shatters, and she begins to breathe heavily. "You good?" Asta asks. "I just want the earring." Catching her breath, the Queen will then hold out the earring and give it to Asta, who puts it away and starts walking off. As he says, Vanessa doesn't need to be here. Though she's still frustrated at not getting stronger, though, Asta would say, "I'll help you train. It's fate." Everyone turned back to see the Queen who had said this, and she says the next step in Vanessa's magic is to control fate, to dictate your own reality. That string magic is only the beginning. Soon, your strings will tug fate itself. She would then start to leave, telling her not to come back and take that monster with you. Even to the end, she's annoying, Asta would say. "No wonder you never brought us here," Noel said. "Well, anyway, you got your answer, so can we go now?" Asta said. And Noel said that he was being insensitive, but Vanessa said that it was fine. "See," Asta would say. Getting embarrassed, Noel would then say to shut up, but Vanessa said that they should just go home now. And they all massively agree and start leaving with a portal from Inferno. They re-enter the living room with Mana, then being the first one to notice. "Oh, you found what you were looking for? It's nothing a delinquent should worry about. The one time I try to care." "Welcome back anyway." With a big smile, Vanessa would then say, "Thanks." Time then passes. Getting fate magic was actually pretty simple. Asta just had to use his King's Descent, or Conqueror Spirit, on Vanessa directly, which he has never done before, and then he attacked her. Well, doing this forced her to form a cat of strings. Everyone came back stronger every day after this, and they did not want to fall behind. But when the day of the Star Festival came, Yami was bizarrely into it, way too much, and they just go to the capital to relax, and it'd be filled with like lights, it'd be night, performers would be using magic, maybe people would be like at food stands. Everyone splits up as Asta and Noel would be going down the street when they then hear a familiar voice. "Isn't that, yeah, that's her for sure," Noel said. Running into a crowd, they walk past it and they see Kahano and her brother Kyoto performing as everyone would just be clapping. They're enamored, and as their song and dance comes to an end, everyone clasps with the two water priests noticing Asta and Noel. They run over and people go off and do their own thing, and Noel would say, "So you were let back on the surface after all?" "Yeah, we kind of wouldn't stop bringing up that we wanted to come. He was really done after the loss," Kyoto said. "I guess we have you guys to thank for that," said Kahano. "Oh, by the way, you guys never formally met. Kyoto, this is Asta. Asta, this is..." "Wake up!" A drowsy Asta would then wake up as he apologizes, with Kyoto then laughing, saying it was okay, and they just shake hands. Jeez, I thought you had your magic under control, Noel said. I'm just a lazy guy, but I'm glad to see you here. Now you can make a lullaby and make me go to sleep. It's a festival, you idiot. You need to stay awake, Noel said. Says you. Yeah, says me. While they argue, Kyoto finds it bizarre, but Kano says that, well, honestly, if he can't, get the attention of Noel that way, he cannot catch Noel's heart. You're gonna have to make her care like that. Realizing that the path to his goddess might have been harder than he thought, Kyoto strengthens resolve. That was so weird. Strengthens his resolve and proposes that they go play some games. Ooh, I'm gonna buy myself a big cuddly bear to snuggle with. Duh, said Asta. The four will then enjoy the night, and as much as they do as much as they can, but as much as Kyoto does, he finds that it's very hard to keep Noel's attention. Asta does it just by being himself, which is usually annoying, but considering he kept on saying he wanted to sleep, it's kind of annoying, but he has his moments and he shows care. Even though it is little, he does care about people. And then soon Julius makes his entrance, putting all the attention on the stage, and he would then introduce the captains and Marilena, who was taking Forgolan's place for now. I'd like to thank you all for gathering. I'm aware that we have encountered quite a lot of trouble lately, but if not for our wonderful nights, where would we be? So let's show which squad has contributed the best and the most, and how they've been keeping us afloat. As the crowd would cheer, the Black Bulls are actually the ones that are shown first with 140 stars, as their achievements and doings are shown by marks. That's right, this year the Black Bulls are taking the lead with the most stars. Losing and spewing his alcohol, Yami would then be left shocked, much like all his men. We shouldn't have that much, Magna thought. As she looks to Asta, meanwhile, however, Noel will then see him scratching his eyes and still yawning and wonders, is that why he's so tired today? Even this much for him is bad. The crowd honestly doesn't know what to do, and neither do the captains. I know it's quite a lot, but this was possible only due to their young rising star. Come on stage, Asta. Smiling, Asta would then leap to the sky as he turns to Frost and reforms beside Julius, who says that this was the young man. He was that massive ice ball that stopped all their enemies in their tracks. Look, the two grimoires. It is true. Yeah, I thought it was just a rumor. Feeling happy for their squad member, the Bulls would make sure to shout his name, and cheers are accompanied from other people. Some of the Bulls, wonder where family is from. Libby at that point would inform and be bombarded by screams as he yells for them to shut up, but they don't hear him. Jeez, at least let me make a stylish entrance. You okay? You pulled 3 all-nighters, Libby said. Asta, however, said that it was worth it, and Julius then goes to show off the second squad and introduce Yuno, who walks onto the stage with Bella at his side. The two brothers now stood on the same stage, and this time Bella and Libe didn't argue because they know that this is a crucial moment for the two. Don't worry, it'll end soon, Yuno said. Yeah, don't talk about it, it just makes it worse. Seriously though, 140? The hell? Every time, Yuno thought. Now, as much as this may surprise you, these two right here are commoners, Julius said. The crowd's cheerings turned from that of, cheerings into mumbling and confusion. The commoners were angry at these nobles, even when faced with the truth, wanted to deny it, but many began to yell and shout, saying how much Asta and Yuno had helped them, when Asta then says, Oi! The power of Asta begins to rise as he exposes so much mana that it freezes everyone in their tracks. And he and Libe said, if you don't like hearing the truth, then stop asking for it, you bastards. The magic fluctuation then instantly disperses as everyone gets chills, goosebumps, and slowly but surely, they all begin to clap as to show respect. Yeah, I thought so, said Asta. Jeez, I didn't save you all so you could stay in denial. Asta just turned into Captain Yami, all the Black Bulls thought. Was that little brat making fun of me, Yami said. Whatever, he did good. As all the nobles are brought out from denial by Asta and his striking words and Libe's, they show full support, but saying, man, you were really cranky. Oh, you think? Asta said. What will the Eye of the Midnight Sun do now? Do they have a comeback plan? And what will Asta find upon being shown where he is told by Libe that his mother resides? Find out in the next part of Black Clover. It's been your boy Prince of What Ifs, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace. I'm gone.
Yeah, you better listen. I'm bringing heat. You'll be a fan when I start rapping. Way I'll have your fucking head spinning. I'm known as spit vicious. Release bombs and go tick tick. Boom, you blown me that head missing. I'm a phenomenon. Stacking cheese like it's Parmesan. 8 different flows, call me Octomom. I'm moving fast like the Autobahn, and I'm independent, so I'm not your fucking star.